Access with guest reporter Clint Boyer. Plus, relive the greatest top 5 all-star moments. That's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. The main event with the $1 million prize. NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race begins at 7, and Victory Lane closes things out 11 p.m. That's the menu for Saturday. But a beautiful night for racing here Friday night under the lights in Charlotte, 79 degrees. It was hot today, but it has cooled off, and that means the speeds will be up. There you see Rowdy on the door. Yes, Kyle Busch back in the field tonight. He is so good at this track. Can he do it again? But to do so, he'll have to get past the oh-so-tough Thor Sport Racing trio. All the bright lights and famous faces on hand tonight. Can anyone dethrone Kyle Busch? Timothy Peters certainly going to try. Brad Keselowski, could he finally grab the missing win he so desires? The trucks under the lights in NASCAR's backyard, only on speed. The North Carolina Education Lottery 200 cashes in right now.
Matt Crafton cruised to the checkers at Kansas, and despite a 25-point penalty for solder, Thor Sport is still holding court. But it's a Friday night all-star showdown in Charlotte. Bragging rights are on the line. High speeds and hot tempers will create the perfect summer storm. Could rookie Ryan Blaney take Ford to victory lane at Charlotte for the first time in trucks history? Will the Thor Sport boys carry their Kansas momentum to a 4th trophy? Don't count out series champ Buescher, who's been on an uphill climb. Charlotte is a hometown game, but who holds home court advantage? The 5th round of the Camping World Truck Series from Charlotte is next. It's not too late to resuscitate me.
All-Star Weekend is about to hit full throttle with the North Carolina Education Lottery 200 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Anytime you come to Charlotte, you've got to pick favorites, and one of those might have to be Brad Keselowski. But Brad Keselowski, even though he's a nationwide champion as well as the defending Sprint Cup champion, has never won a truck race. Justin Lofton knows how to win, especially here at Charlotte. Got his first Truck Series win. He's back to defend that title. Kyle Busch, 14 times, has won on mile-and-a-half racetracks. Tonight he'll start 4th. Wants to get off the slump of a 7-race losing streak. But it's Jeb Burton that's going to bring the field to the green flag tonight with his 3rd career pole in the 5 races we have had in 2013. Let's get things kicked off with our pre-race ceremonies. Let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Air Force ROTC Detachment 592 from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte presents our nation's colors. Race fans, we ask that you join us in a moment of silence in memory of former NASCAR driver Dick Trickle, who passed away Thursday at the age of 71. Now, please remain standing as Motor Racing Outreach Chaplain Monty Self offers tonight's invocation.
Dear God, we thank you for this beautiful night. And Lord, as we remember the life of Dick Trickle, we just pray that you would bless his friends and his family with strength, with comfort and peace during this time of mourning. Father, we thank you for the great privilege to live in this great country. And Father, we thank you for the opportunity and the health to be able to gather here tonight. Father, we thank you for the Speedway staff, the sponsors that have worked so hard to make this event possible. And as we begin tonight's race, Father, we want to ask that you bless each fan, NASCAR official, the track safety personnel, the teams and the drivers with safety and a good night of racing. For it's in Christ's name, amen.
Here to sing our national anthem is 13-year-old Danielle Johnson from Warsaw, North Carolina. Danielle recently starred as Annie Who in the Broadway production of How the Grinch Stole Christmas in Boston and Madison Square Garden in New York City.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And it's time for the drivers to climb into their trucks under the lights once again for the Camping World Truck Series. Sparks guaranteed to fly here at Charlotte. What does it take to make it to victory lane at Charlotte Motor Speedway? Well, you got to be able to figure out in practice how to set the truck up. The other thing you've got to do to get to victory lane is beat the superstars of the sport, and they will be shining with us tonight. Hello again, Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip with you. Now, we talk about figuring out the setup of these trucks. They had practice yesterday, practice this morning, and qualifying this afternoon. Did that help them at all for tonight's race?
Well, we've had almost 6 hours of practice over the last 2 days, and not one lap of that was in the time that we're going to be racing tonight. And this racetrack changes probably as much as any racetrack on the circuit, so it's a guessing game. Talked to all the crew chiefs in the garage area. I said, what's this track going to do? Some of them said it's going to get a little bit looser. Some of them said it's going to get a lot looser. So how tight do you have these things for this looseness we're going to have? It will be changing, and it will change as the night wears on.
How about under the lights, the stars coming out?
Oh, man, it's going to be fun to watch Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski fight against these guys. They know how to win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Kyle's won 6 nationwide races. He's won 4 truck races. Brad Keselowski has 2 wins in the nationwide series. And these guys are going to be threats to win the All-Star race tomorrow night. So they know how to get it done. If you can beat one of these guys tonight or both these guys tonight, that would be a major accomplishment for these young guys trying to make themselves somebody in this sport.
So Kyle's in a slump, too, you know.
A slump of 7 races.
Bad slump.
They had about 6 hours of practice qualifying earlier today. Now we're ready to get the engines fired. So let's go trackside for the command.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, winner of the North Carolina Education Lottery Lucky Rewards Zone promotion, George McCall.
Drivers, start your engine!
Engines are fired up, drivers are fired up, ready to find out who can make it to victory lane. The North Carolina Education Lottery 200 coming out next. Trucks beginning to roll off pit road here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we're getting ready for the 5th race of the 2013 season. I want to take a look at the particulars of this racetrack, a 1.5-mile track as we see our Camping World track description.
You see the 24-degree banking in the corners. That means speed here. We had trucks qualify at over 180 miles an hour. That's 190 entering the corner.
This is a classic NASCAR type track. High banks. These trucks really stick tight in the corners. See the race distance, 34 laps. That's 200 miles. Pit wind is somewhere around 52 to 57 laps. Maybe not that far on the first stop, Bill.
Yeah, because we're not able to top these trucks off after qualifying.
That's our Ram race analysis. Now let's go trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, when you watch Sprint Cup racing, you're used to seeing Hendrick and Gibbs and Roush Fenway. Those are the powerhouse teams with lots of entries, but that's typically not the case here in the Camping World Truck Series. But this weekend, and right here at Charlotte, we have 5 teams that each have 3 entries. A total of 49 victories from this group, and some very, very good drivers on this list. If you're going to win tonight at Charlotte, you're going to have to beat the guys on this list for sure. And we know Brad Keselowski's hungry for a win. The leader at the top of this, Kyle Busch Motorsports, and tonight, Kyle's in the field. Hermie?
Well, Ray, another team that's trying to get to that level is Eddie Short Racing here in the Camping World Truck Series. Prior to last year, Eddie purchased Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Great equipment, had some good drivers. Went to victory lane twice last year. Justin Lofton, who was in the field tonight, went to victory lane at this very race last year. That wasn't good enough. His other team also went to victory lane last year. That was Cale Gale battling Kyle Busch to victory at Homestead last year. Not a bad accomplishment for both teams to go to victory lane. Well, tonight could be a very important night. After 2012, Cale Gale gone as driver, Ream as sponsor, gone to another team. Justin Lofton back to a limited schedule. Tonight could be very critical for Eddie Short Racing to maybe get back to victory lane and get back on that path to success to compete with the big hitters that Ray Dunlap was talking about. Ray, Rick.
Well, thank you, Hermie. And of course, Justin Lofton. What better place to get right back into the groove in the Truck Series than the racetrack that you want at?
Let's take a ride along with some of these drivers. There's Brad Keselowski trying to get that win to complete the hat trick. He had a second place finish back at Memphis driving for Germain Racing, and that got him noticed. He ended up driving for Dale Jr. shortly after that. He's trying to get that first win here, and he's in a draw type Ford starting 19th.
Let's hop inside the Carolina Nut Curbs record Toyota of Johnny Sauter. He's starting 16th. Johnny Sauter left Kansas with a point lead in the crew chief. He doesn't have either one of those here tonight after some post-race penalties in Kansas, so this team is looking to rebound.
We're also going to ride along with Bubba Wallace. He has a tremendous amount of experience here at this racetrack, but it's all on the quarter mile in a legend car. First time ever on this racetrack in a NASCAR vehicle. He's doing a great job. He's going to start from the 13th spot, 8th in points.
Hey, let's take a little international ride, Phil. We're going to go along with Armand Quiroga. He's from Mexico City, and this dude gets it. He's fast. He's starting 10th, but he's going to have to go to the back of the pack. He got sideways in qualifying, hit the outside wall. The team repaired that truck, so we're going to get some good shots from Armand coming from the back of the pack.
Those are some of the camera angles that we will be able to utilize. Another camera is actually a cable cam that flies over right there.
There it is, right there.
Right over
cool
pit road
shot too.
And the quad. Take a look at this, the track temperature today and the variation.
And that's one of the things we were talking about. They had about an hour and a half practice today. That 114, that's what it was when we started practice. 124 at the end, already 92 degrees, and that will come down. That's why this racetrack changes so much.
Yeah, that's also why these guys are faced with such a tremendous challenge. They haven't felt anything like this in the 2 days they've been here. That's going to make it difficult for them and fun for us. We'll ride along on this cable cam and watch all that action. Isn't that a great shot?
It's a spectacular shot. One other thing I think is exciting about the start of this race is the youth up front. You've got Jeb Burton once again, his 3rd career pole, and Ty Dillon up there. 2 Chevrolets making up row number 1. And you've got a hungry Jeb Burton wanting to get to victory lane. Ty Dillon's been there before, but I'm telling you, really hungry for these guys to get up there.
Oh, without a doubt, we've got a hungry guy back in row 2. Remember the guy with the big slump, the big 7-race slump, Kyle Busch starting 4th.
Don't you love how unpredictable the Truck Series is? We started this season and really no clear-cut favorite about who our champion would be. And that tone has played out. Who would have guessed that young Jeb Burton would have 3 poles already?
Take a look at our future all-stars in the Camping World Truck Series as well as in NASCAR. Jeb Burton again on the pole. Ryan Blaney, the young man there, has really shown promise. Still hasn't been able to get to victory lane, but so close. Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan Blaney has been to victory lane. He's again one of the stars. That one win that he does have in his career. The guys like Bubba Wallace, another driver who shows so much promise, driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, just looking for that one opportunity.
There's a lot of people here at Charlotte that monitor what happens in the Truck Series, who's fast, where these kids are coming from. Heck, Grandpa's even here checking things
RC.
out.
There's Richard Childress, Ty Dillon's grandfather, up on the hauler, making sure everything's ready to go for the start of this one. Coming into the quad oval. Green flag in the air. We're underway from Charlotte. 3 wide as they work their way through the quad oval into turn number 1.
How about the 19 of Ross Chastain making it 3 wide, already up to the 3rd spot.
He started 7th. What a move that was. Heck, he might go for the lead on the backstretch.
Side by side, door to door as they go into turn number 3. Upwards of 190 miles an hour. Jeff Burton has to slide up the racetrack. That means Ty Dillon has the lead as they come out of 4.
I think Ty Dillon had to slide up the racetrack. That's why Jeff Burton had to get out of the throttle. It looked like somebody might have gotten a wall off of 4.
We saw some dust flying right up there against the wall coming out of 4.
We see dust flying, we see sparks flying, and these guys are wide open on the gas, side by side. Truck racing is so much fun. You can see how tight these guys race each other.
200 miles, it's 134 laps. That means that they are up on the wheel from the very drop of the green flag.
So Ross Chastain on the bottom of Justin Lofton there. Remember at Kansas, we saw so many trucks get loose on the inside of the racetrack, get sideways and take out the outside truck.
Big run for Timothy Peters in the 17, able to get by that 19 of Ross Chastain.
Teammate Ryan Blaney now in the 29 truck jumps to the outside of Ross.
Fighting for position back behind the 3 of Ty Dillon. Looks as though Kyle Busch is going to take a different line, a little bit higher line as he works his way through 3 and 4, trying to keep that momentum up. And now all over the back bumper of Ty Dillon for the lead.
Guys, these starts and restarts that you're going to see tonight are going to be just this amazing. And plus, Phil, every lap that goes by, the intensity goes up. You might cut somebody a break, slide up the hill a little bit now, but later in the night, you won't see that cooperation.
Remember, this is only a 200-mile race as we see Kyle Busch go to the lead.
Kyle Busch takes the lead. Remember when Ty Dillon won his race? He beat Kyle Busch, and that was one of the biggest accomplishments of his career. Now he's racing door to door and bumper to bumper right now with Kyle Busch once again for the lead here in Charlotte.
And Michael, you talked about it. For these guys to get to victory lane, they're going to have to go through Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch to get there.
And Kyle's making a statement early. He started on the outside of the 2nd row, has driven to the lead. So that tells you that he's got a fast truck. Will conditions change enough to where these teams will have to make adjustments? I think they will change.
Absolutely, I think so.
Riding with Ivan Quiroga as he goes to the inside of the 13 of Todd Bodine.
Remember, too, guys, the Kyle Busch truck has lost 2 engines already this week.
Matt Crafton looking at the inside of that 29 of Blaney.
When you lose 2 engines, Phil, you lose more than just the engine. You lose precious track time, too. So not a lot of time to sort that truck out. Kyle was right on the track first thing this morning and made 10 or 12 laps. So I felt like he thought he had a decent truck, but then when they went back to tune on it and work on it, his engine broke. So those adjustments weren't able to be made.
Does that ever put a question mark in your mind after losing 2 engines in one weekend?
Oh, yeah, but as soon as you strap in and start it up, you just assume it's going to run all night long. You're going to win the race. You put all that behind you.
Now James Busher looks to the inside of the 19, can't make that pass. Ross Chastain still holding his line on the outside.
2 distinct lines now around this racetrack. We see most of the guys on the bottom of the racetrack for practice and qualifying. Now they've fanned out here. We have some trucks going to the outside.
Ross Chastain with a good entry into turn 3.
So Matt Crafton moved to the inside of Ryan Blaney. That's a battle for the 6th spot.
Side by side once again for position. Crafton inside of Blaney.
Ooh,
and now
hard in the wall.
Hard damage on the right side, flattened the right side of that truck.
We talked about him starting from the rear and having to race his way through these trucks to get to the front. A lot of speed from Armand this year, but a lot of trouble there.
And hearing that he might have had some contact with the 75. Caleb Holman.
Yeah, a lot of damage to that truck right there.
10 forward, 2 right sides here. Look at it. Fix any damage. 2 right sides. Fix any damage if we need to.
Right along with the 77, see what happened.
He was running in the 26th position, Rick. Oh, wow.
You heard, sounded like the rear tires light up there.
Well, that makes you wonder if maybe someone got into the back of it. There was some contact on the 75 truck as well.
Yeah, we saw
a lot of damage.
The 75 almost looked like he got to the outside wall as well.
So they go to work on the 77. as well as the 75, both on pit road. You see a lot of damage to the left front of that 75.
It looked like maybe the 75 from that damage got underneath the left rear quarter panel of that 77 truck, lifted the back end off the ground, and we heard the tires spin. Ray, what's going on down there?
Well, guys, Herman came on the radio and said that his Net 10 truck, wireless truck, really hit the wall a lot harder than they may have anticipated. And the guys now looking underneath said there may be some suspension damage. So there's a chance they may have to push this truck behind the wall to get it back in the race.
A lot of action down there on pit road. There's Todd Bodine. He didn't have a very good qualifying effort. Looks like a little
steam coming out of that truck. They probably had to come down pit road, take some tape off, guys.
So Todd Bodine on pit road and off again.
Ross Chastain racing hard on the inside of Ryan Blaney, trying to grab that spot away. Looks like he can't quite clear Ryan.
Teammates running side by side.
Last race at Kansas, we saw teammates wipe each other out. Miguel Paludo was on the outside of James Busher. They made contact, and Paludo went hard into the outside wall. So don't just assume because it's your teammate you won't get hit.
They're trying to give themselves as much room as they can. Out in front, almost a second lead over Ty Dillon. That's Kyle Busch leading at Charlotte. It's been 7 races since he's been to victory lane in the Camping World Truck Series, trying to end that losing streak. How about that hard contact from the 77 and 75? Tomorrow on NASCAR Race Day, don't miss an all-access, all-star preview with guest reporter, yes, you guessed it, Clint Boyer. Plus, we relive the greatest top 5 all-star moments. NASCAR Race Day special edition live tomorrow at 4 Eastern, only on Speed. Well, first cautions come out.
Can't wait to watch Boyer report. He's crazy. Ain't no telling what he'll hunt up.
And funny, so it will definitely be enjoyable. North Carolina Education Lottery 200 presented by Ram. Under caution for the first time. The 99 looked like it went up in smoke. Now pit stop's about to happen. Everybody on pit road, all chasing after the 51 of Kyle Busch. Hermie.
Justin Lofton in a last-minute call. They came to pit road. They're going to get 4 tires and 1 can of fuel for Justin Lofton. Ray?
Well, Hermie, from what I've heard on the radio down here, a bunch of guys going to go with fuel only. We see Kyle Busch going with right side tires. They are going fuel on the 3 only, fuel only on the 4. They'll pull a little piece of tape off of that arrowhead number 4, and these guys have a good battle going off pit road. We were just a little too far into the run here to not come down pit road to get fuel to be on the safe side.
Pretty impressive for Kyle Busch to come off of pit road after changing right side tires and still beat the 4, the 3, and the 88 all off of pit road.
One guy that stayed out, Brendan Gaughan, we heard Brendan during our practice show say that if he could get track position, he thinks he can lead this race and be a factor. Well, they gambled, got him some track position. He's leading right now.
See the smoke coming out of Brian Salas, number 99. It gets worse as he gets down to the corner. He does a nice job keeping that truck under him, but you know, these guys actually have an extra set of tires for this race. They had 4 on the ground when the race started.
So a few going with just fuel on this pit stop. We'll see how that plays out when the green flag comes back out. 77 of Herman Quiroga trying to come back out on the racetrack, and not his day.
What happened?
Not his night. He will pull the window net down.
I think he might have wrecked again.
He wrecked again.
Under caution.
He was trying to come back out onto the track, was out on the track, and this happens.
And after that, he was on for the ride. They said just go to the garage. He'd probably say, well, if I could.
Yeah.
I would love to do it, but I can't.
If I just could.
So while the safety crew is attending to Herman Quiroga, we will take another quick break. Just about 15 miles from uptown Charlotte. Welcome back. North Carolina Education Lottery 200 underway from Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's the 5th race of the 2013 season. Out in front of the field once again will be Kyle Busch after winning the race off of pit road. Again, a 200-mile race, 134 laps. Let's go to pit road and get some updates on what's taking place. Hermie.
Yeah, Rick, wanted to update the fans on Todd Bodine. What a long day he is having. Qualified 32nd, came to pit road under green. Why? An overheating engine. They got some grass on the front of the grill, so he had to make an unscheduled pit stop, as you can see, to clean the grill off. You see the steam coming out of the engine, so early setback for Todd Bodine, but he does have a free pass back on the lead lap. Ray?
Hermie, down on my end, I took a look at the number 2 truck, Brad Keselowski's draw tight. Ford decided to go with 4 tires on that last pit stop. It was only 17 laps into the run, but Brad said we need to try to do something different than the guys up front. They made a pretty big adjustment. He said his truck was not very good in dirty air. He'll restart 18th.
That's the problem. You're back there, though, 15th to 20th like Brad is, and you're going to be in dirty air. So he's going to try to make something happen. Maybe his 4 tires will allow him to get by some of these trucks that took 2 tires or no tires.
And then also maybe it gives the option to get 2 tires later on when some of the others get 4. So it opens up the window. And if you didn't have a very good truck, I like that strategy. Let's try to figure out a way to be different than the people that are beating us. Maybe we can take advantage of some track position like we saw Brendan Gaughan do. He's going to restart on the outside of the front row, see if he can hold these guys off.
77 of Herman Quiroga checked and released from the infield care center. It's Brendan Gaughan, Kyle Busch, 1 and 2 coming to the stripe for the restart. Green flag back in the air.
Remember, Kyle has 2 fresh right side tires here.
And remember, Brendan Gaughan would rather be on the high side of the racetrack than anywhere in the world. And he's making it work. He's going to hang with Kyle off turn 2.
Brendan qualified on the high side, 3 wide.
For the lead as they come down the backstretch. Brendan Gaughan has the advantage on the high side. Here comes the 51 of Kyle Busch once again on the low side.
Well, that's Jeff Burton that made his way around Kyle Busch. Looked like Kyle maybe got loose off turn 2. And look at all the trucks that went by him. He's all the way back to the 5th spot.
And so while Kyle Busch has fallen back, Brendan Gaughan has taken off.
Boy, look at Kyle go through the center of that turn, though. Got up on the outside of Ty Dillon and is making it work. Driving right on the back of the leaders.
Brendan Gaughan out in front. Jeff Burton running second. Here comes Kyle Busch running that high line, trying to get by the 4.
So Jeff Burton goes right down to the bottom. It opens up the outside for Kyle. He's going to get a nose up there beside Jeff Burton.
Don't you see a driver in Kyle Busch who looks like he might be a little bit motivated, inspired?
Caleb Holman having issues with the 75. A lot of sparks coming out. Caution once again.
Go behind the wall.
Wow, look at that right front, driven all the way back to the...
Holy crap, I went in there and switched the ends on me.
I heard him say he went down in the corner and it swapped ends on him.
Got it pretty good that time.
Yo, Alpha.
Bad trashed it, guys.
Yo,
Just
Alpha
try
Dog
to
is
be
hurt.
Go on down there and get behind the wall. Keep going if you can.
May not be able to turn that truck. You see the right front tire is seized up there. He's going to stop right in the middle of pit road. So they will keep pit road closed as long as he's sitting there.
I'll tell you what, Phil, I just see, you know, Kyle's had to listen to the slump that he's in, not winning in 7 starts and having a couple of engines that have failed him this weekend. It just looks like to me that he is very, very up on the chip after this win.
And remember that 7 start stretches over a year and a half. So not only is it 7 starts, it's been a year and a half since he went to victory lane in a truck race.
He got down off turn 2 loose on the inside of Brendan Gaughan, saved it, almost fell back outside of the top 5, and then went to the high side and drove by half of them. Now he's back up to 3rd.
So Brendan Gaughan, another one of the drivers that's on a little bit of a losing streak out in front of this field. And welcome back. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the site of race number 5, and already the sparks have been flying since the drop of the green flag. It hasn't been Herman Quiroga's night, as he has been involved in 2 incidents already and behind the wall. After 27 laps, Brendan Gaughan out in front of the field in the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Kyle Busch, after a little bit of a shaky restart last time by, was able to work his way back up to 2nd. Was able to get back in front of Jeff Burton, and issues for the 98.
Are we sure Joe Shear isn't here? Don't they usually go under that truck, Phil?
Yeah, you can see with wrenches on both sides, they're going to raise the front of that truck. I'm sure it's down on the splitter. Again, we've seen Joe and those guys do that before. Maybe that's just part of the normal routine.
Well, and that truck always responds to those adjustments as well. They raise up the front end, get it off the ground, and Johnny goes to hauling.
And make an adjustment to the left rear as well. Brad Keselowski still hasn't been to victory lane in the trucks. Will that change tonight? And welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Trucks continuing to roll around the racetrack under a caution. 105 laps to go in this one, the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. The 98 back out on the racetrack. What were they doing down there, Hermie?
They're just raising the front of the truck up, Rick. Sometimes when they raise the hood, you automatically think trouble. It is a little bit of trouble, but just suspension trouble, raising that truck up, a little more clearance. Also, a man in the pit road, the 32, Miguel Paludo, came in 4 tires, raised the track bar, the 32, too tight in traffic.
Man, but Rick, we've seen how intense the action is back in the pack. So Johnny Sauter's put himself, as has Miguel Paludo, into the eye of way. They're in the eye of the storm because we've seen crashes. We're going to see more, a lot of hard racing. So be a little bit of tense times for that 98 team.
Front row, Brendan Gaughan, Kyle Busch, then it's Jeff Burton, Ty Dillon back there in row 2. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway.
We saw Kyle Busch really struggle on the inside of Brendan on this last restart. Let's see what happens when they get down here to turn 1.
Let's see if he's going to protect the bottom as they go down the backstretch. Remember, Jeff Burton made it 3 wide. It looks like he has designs of doing it again.
He does indeed.
Out of turn number 2.
I think Matt Crafton's going to beat him there. He's not going to allow Jeff Burton to get to the inside.
This time Kyle Busch able to hang on to that inside line and stay right on the inside of the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. Momentum's going to win out as they come out of 4. Gaughan back out in front.
We know how much Brendan Gaughan loves the outside. He loved it so much he qualified on the outside of the racetrack.
Still 2 by 2 all the way back through the field.
You know what I love? A track where the outside is an option. You go down in the corner and they have the ability to run 2, 3 wide, especially in the truck series. These things punch such a big hole in the air. You can get good drafts 3 wide on the back straightaway, as you see there. That's the kind of action you'll see all night.
That was the 29 of Ryan Blaney making it 3 wide. Now he's in the middle of it 3 wide. 2 rows of 3 wide.
Brad Keselowski right in the middle as well. Justin Lofton in the 6 on the inside. On the outside, Max Gresham.
Wow, look at that.
Got Ron Hornaday down the inside in the gunbroker truck. Look at that.
Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace loose, able to catch it at 54.
Still out there.
They've been 3 wide for a lap.
What a save by Bubba Wallace.
Still top of 3.
Take a deep breath. Brad Keselowski still right in the center of that group.
Brad gave Bubba some room there.
Little wiggle there out of Brad as well. Here comes Kyle Busch trying for the lead.
He was a leader at the line here. Let's see if Brendan can fight back on the outside.
Saw spark come out of that 62. Something rubbing there as they got into turn number 1.
It's a little rougher up top, and Brendan just driving the heck out of that thing, trying to hold onto the lead against one of the best in the business. Looks like Kyle's going to make that pass on the low side in 3 and 4.
Holding his line up high. Brendan Gaughan's going to get all over the back bumper. That 51
winder up
to
here.
the quad oval.
Coming. Right back with you.
Good side-by-side battle for the 4th spot. Matt Crafton on the inside. Ross Chastain, the 19 on the outside.
I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Ross. Phil, he's really getting up there, battling in the top 5. We've seen that kid make steady progress. Now he's got a chance with a top team like Brad Keselowski Racing. This is special times for him and his family.
Mellon 1 is looking strong tonight for Ross Chastain. And there's Brad Keselowski in the 2. Still looking for his first Truck Series win as he comes up on the gunbroker.com. Number 9 of Ron Hornaday.
You can see he's going to make the move around the top and bring Justin Lofton with him.
Remember, Justin Lofton went to victory lane here last year in this race.
John West Townley in the Zaxby's 7 just behind this group. You also see 17 of Timothy Peters working to the inside of that 19.
Nice move by Timothy. He moves up into the top 5.
You know, this track, Phil, we talked earlier, it has so much grip. And these guys, the temperatures are getting cooler, the track's getting faster, and these guys have to drive right on the edge of control so hard every lap if they're going to win this race. And that's why you see so much action. They're just really on the edge.
And probably another reason why we're seeing sparks, the faster these guys go, the more the trucks will travel when they get into the corners.
And the reason why Johnny Sauter felt like he needed to work on his truck. He thought his was hitting too hard. They needed to make that adjustment and try to race back through the field. He restarted outside the top 25, and he's up inside the top 20 now, 19th.
Take a look at the save on the right side that Bubba Wallace makes. Man, that was close.
Oh, you don't get that many opportunities to hang on to one like that. And then look, then he goes directly 3 wide.
Riding along with him.
That was a big save.
Big wiggle.
Brad stayed in the middle there, but gave him enough room on the outside to straighten it out.
Still out front, Kyle Busch has about a 0.3 of a second lead over Brendan Gaughan. Ty Dillon running 3rd. Matt Crafton and Timothy Peters are your top 5.
See that A truck right there? That's Max Gresham, one of Eddie Sharp Racing's trucks. Remember, Hermie talked on the setup show how Eddie Sharp Racing was trying to get back on track with Justin Lofton and Max Gresham. Right now, both those guys running well.
What about Brendan Gaughan? He hasn't let Kyle Busch get away from him. I thought when Kyle made that pass, he could put a little bit of distance on the second place truck, but Brendan's hanging right with him.
Brendan talked about wanting to get out front in that clean air, see if he could lead a few laps here at Charlotte. He has definitely done that. Let's go trackside to Hermie.
Rick, we see right here the 31 of James Busher, our defending champion, racing with the 19 of Ross Chastain. By himself on the racetrack, James Busher is one of the fastest trucks on the track. He really likes the feel and the way he's been able to turn. He completes the pass right here on the 19. He qualified 12th, but watches the 31 slowly but surely makes his way to the front. Ray?
Hermie, listening to the radio, Kyle Busch has come on and said, this thing is absolutely flying through the center of the corner, but when I get on the straightaway, not nearly as much speed. He said, that's where the 62 is catching me down through the tri-oval. He said, we must have an aero adjustment that we need to make on this body, but he said it's really, really fast in the center of the corner.
Yeah, that aero adjustment won't come tonight. He's going to have to live with that for this race, but just giving his team feedback about how they can be better the next time they hit the racetrack.
And I like how Brendan Gaughan, on the same set of tires that he started the race on, is staying right with Kyle Busch, matching him lap time for lap time.
Yeah, that gap between the 51 and 62 has remained under a half a second.
Last time by, Brendan was about a half of a tenth of a second faster than Kyle. Ty Dillon's hanging right in there with those two as well.
I love the way we say a half of a tenth of a second over 1.5 miles. That's what separated those two.
We had 5 trucks that were qualifying with that within 1/100th of a second.
It's amazing, the competition in NASCAR. How tight it is in all of our top series.
Teammates nose to tail here. Got Ross Chastain in the 19, Ryan Blaney in the 29.
That's 7th and 8th. You see Jeb Burton in the 4 truck trying to get by the 29 of Ryan Blaney. And Bubba Wallace right behind Jeb Burton. Bubba's holding down the 10th spot.
Blaney tries the higher line as we ride along with Bubba Wallace.
Bubba's doing a nice job here. Again, first time ever here at Charlotte Motor Speedway on anything other than the quarter mile.
Listen to him, just barely out of the, I mean, we're 40 laps into this race and he's just barely out of the gas. That showed you, and he's been sideways once, so you know he's on the edge of control, and a lot of throttle in that thing.
Gained a bunch of ground on Jeb Burton this last lap here.
Yeah, Kangaroo Express coming into focus quite a bit better now as he's looking to the inside of that 4 of Jeb Burton, and right on his bumper. Look at how close these trucks are.
This will be tough to handle right here. You're down on the inside. If he isn't careful, that thing will get loose with him.
He recognizes that, backs off a little bit, doesn't drive it in there beside him, waits to the center of the corner to make the move.
What a veteran move that was. Like you said, Phil, didn't get himself in a bind getting in, was able to settle the truck down and then drive hard off and make that pass. That was a great move by Bubba.
I think he might drive up there and drive by both of those BKR trucks here in a moment. He's on the move.
Bubba Wallace definitely on the move as he's closing in on the 19 and 29. Ross Chastain will be the next one he's going to try to get by. Very close call already for Bubba Wallace as he was on the high side of 3 wide and it got loose on him, chasing it away from the wall. Welcome back. Still out front, it's Kyle Busch. He's got almost a 2-second lead now over Brendan Gaughan. It looks as though he has figured out how to spread that gap.
Guys, the bad news for Brendan Gaughan, remember, he hasn't been to pit road yet here. We've had 11 laps of caution, so that can stretch his fuel mileage. But again, we have qualifying plus the pace laps. I'd say within 10 laps, he's going to have to be on pit road here. He's hoping for a caution big time.
He's got to like what he's seen out of his truck, though. It's so interesting. He said, we're not going to qualify good, but we're going to race good. And he was exactly right. Now it's time to come to pit road, Phil. That caution didn't come. He's got to make that stop.
37 at your mark.
And so the 62 of Brendan Gaughan gives up the 2nd spot onto pit road in that first stall, Hermie.
Yeah, these guys stayed on the racetrack, gambled a little bit for some track position. It'll be a 4-tire stop for the 62. Really likes his truck. Now they just have to hope this green flag cycle goes all the way through and get back on sequence.
Great pit work by his guys, by the South Point guys. I watched him come to pit road, and I just happen to remember watching the All-Star qualifying here right on speed. Those guys come in and get 150 miles an hour at the end of pit road.
Incredible. And you see how slow it looks like Brendan is going as he's exiting pit road.
That's between 45 and 50 miles an hour. So that is slow compared to what those Cup cars were doing.
Back up to speed will be Brendan Gaughan. He loses a lap. Kyle Busch still out in front. Now it's Ty Dillon who runs second. Ty about 4 seconds back from Kyle Busch. Then Matt Crafton, Timothy Peters, and Ryan Blaney, your top 5.
I was talking to Ty down in the garage here, and he said this is a little bit of a departure. This body style, obviously still a Chevrolet Silverado, but the way they went about it, and he said he liked it so far. So and the truck's running well.
It's a nifty Wild Turkey Foundation paint scheme it's got on there. Bass Pro Shops, a really big supporter of Richard Childress Racing and NASCAR in general. Johnny Morrison, those folks really use our sport to let people know that it's a good place to shop.
Ty Dillon's only win in the Camping World Truck Series came on a 1.5 mile racetrack a year ago at Atlanta.
There's our point leader, Matt Crafton. Another solid run here for Matt Crafton, as we have come to expect.
Crafton, most recent winner in the Camping World Truck Series at Kansas, was able to get win number 3 in his career. Talk about him also being the Iron Man of this sport and series. Has more consecutive starts than anyone in the history of the Camping World Truck Series.
We talked about his teammate Johnny Sauter coming to pit road and making some adjustments, raising that truck up. He restarted outside the top 20. Hermie, he's raced his way up inside of the top 15, trying to get 13th away there from Joey Coulter. That truck's moving along pretty good since they worked on it, Bud.
It is, Michael. You got to remember, give these guys some credit. Without their crew chief, Joe Shear Jr. on top of the pit box, coming in and making some major adjustments to this 98 truck. And Johnny's been methodical and uncharacteristically quiet on the radio as he moves his way back up inside the top 15. He dropped one spot right there to Brendan Gaughan, but remember, Brendan just did it for 4 tires. So pretty good adjustment for the 98, putting Johnny Sauter back in a position to potentially have a shot to win this race.
And Brendan Gaughan, again, a lap down, so he's trying to make up some ground. He needs to catch up to Cockrum in the 07, who right now is 1 lap down, but the highest scored 1 lap down truck if Brendan wants to potentially get his lap back with the free pass.
Yeah, but Kyle Busch is continuing to put trucks a lap down, and since you were talking about that, he's already put Jeff Agnew in the 27 lap down, so it may take 2 caution flags for Brendan to get back in sync.
Well, he's hoping this thing runs through without a caution.
Absolutely.
And everybody makes their pit stop. This guy's been fun to watch, huh? Bubba Wallace sideways in the middle of 1 and 2, but since then he's been picking them up and putting them down, driving on the inside of about every truck he catches, and that's a hard row to hoe down there on the bottom, but he's been able to make it work. And you see James Busher goes low, so Darrell Wallace Jr. takes the high side.
Look at that run through the center of the corner he got, Michael.
That thing's really free, Phil. I think that's the reason why he's able to move so hard on people and make those moves. He's got a loose truck, and evidently he likes it.
Now he's all over the back bumper of that 29. Ryan Blaney just in front of him as he works his way by, remember, defending series champion and probably one of the best on 1.5 mile tracks, James Busher.
Yeah, won 4 times on 1.5 miles last year.
Watch him go to the bottom. He made that pass look easy on Busher. Now he's going to try to work over Blaney.
We were so impressed with Darrell Wallace Jr. coming through the ranks in the Canon Pro Series, and now has graduated to Kyle Busch Motorsports in the Camping World Truck Series and is looking very comfortable out there on the track.
See, Ryan Blaney's been running the high side of the racetrack just about since the drop of the green flag. He's making some pretty good time up there right now, running 6th. Bubba's trying to get that 6th spot from him.
He just needs to be patient and don't get himself in a bind down on the bottom. It looks like another great entry to the corner. Now if he can just get off turn 4 with a little bit of space on Blaney and make the pass, he does it. Another great move and pass for Bubba Wallace up into the top 5.
Great run for that 54. The 51 of Kyle Busch is using up all the racetrack. Take a look at this.
We talked about him passing Jeff Agnew, put him a lap down. Jeff uses a lot of racetrack. Kyle, I don't think you could put a piece of paper in between the right side of that truck and the wall.
We talked about how hard he was driving. There's just some proof of that action, and he's driving away from everybody. Last time by, he ran about 0.2 of a second faster than our 2nd place truck of Ty Dillon. So Kyle's got it going on right now. It's a good truck.
Be a good way to break out of a slump.
Yeah, I'm glad you agree with me that he's
talk about that slump. He has a percentage of winning 1 in every 4 races. Well, it's been 7 since he has been to victory lane. He's looking to change that tonight out in front of the field here at Charlotte. But can he stay there? That'll be the big question. The biggest event in NASCAR is here. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race returns to speed. You don't want to miss this bare-knuckle brawl right here in NASCAR's own backyard. NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, live on Speed.
What a great weekend, too. We've already had a super day here with qualifying. You see Joey Coulter making, I think, a little bit early pit stop, wasn't it, Hermie? Was he out of gas?
Well, he said on the radio at first he thought maybe they were out of gas. He got down on the apron, but the truck was running when it came past me. A little bit fortunate. Happened at a pretty good time. Didn't lose an awful lot of track position. Ray?
Matt Crafton's Menards Toyota has Fisher nuts on the hoods, and he said, we are killing the right rear on this truck. I need a big adjustment. They're going to go to air pressure. They'll go with 4 tires here. He came to pit road on lap 79. Said he really needs help getting off the corner. Not so bad on his entry, but really needs help getting off. Hermie?
Yeah, Todd Bodine in the 13th back to pit road. We mentioned earlier he got back on the lead lap after pitting for an unscheduled pit stop earlier tonight. They have struggled with the entry of this truck all night long with 4 more tires, Sunoco fuel, and another adjustment for Todd Bodine. Ray?
7 truck is coming down pit road. John West Townley said his Zaxby's truck is pretty good through the corner, but he just doesn't like it when he's uptight on other traffic. The 3 truck is coming down pit road. We'll keep our eye on Ty Dillon. I also saw David Starr come in a moment ago with a flat right front tire, but guess what? The yellow is out. A truck is in the wall. Coulter has hit the front stretch wall, and that'll bring out the caution.
Oh, that'll be a tough break for some of these guys being on pit road already. They'll do the wave around, but they'll lose all their track position. A break for a guy like Johnny Sauter, though, who went to the back and stayed on the racetrack. Now he can gain that track position back.
Right. Ty Dillon will get 4 tires. I think he may have been on pit road before the yellow came out. He said that he was really wearing out his right front. And we also see that the 4 of Jeff Burton was in. They're going with 4 tires. Burton saying that he really was tight in the center. So they're going to make air pressure adjustment. They also put in 2 rounds of wedge. Hermie?
Yeah, Ray, want to go back and circle back with the 18. He just came to pit road, and he came to pit road because he called in. It was not a fuel concern. He thought he had a right front tire go down, so he got down on the apron of the racetrack, came to pit road, put 4 tires on, went back on the racetrack, and still cut down the right front. So they must be dragging something suspension-wise on the right front of that 18 to cause the right front tire to go down.
Yeah, he must have called that from the seat. Said, I got a problem on the right front. Thought it was a tire, changed tires and went back out. Might have been something else.
And we see all the damage to the right side of that 18 of Joey Coulter. He brings out the 3rd caution here at Charlotte. Take another look.
Look at your middle of the screen here.
And sure enough, up into the wall, Joey Coulter goes. So that brings out the 3rd caution. As you mentioned, we had just started cycling through green flag pit stops. Take a look up ahead.
Yeah, no question that right front tire goes down.
Veered hard into the outside wall.
Hermie.
The 31 of James Busher is tight the longer this truck runs. They originally called for spring rubber out of the left rear. They decided not to do that. 4 tires, fuel, and air pressure for the 31. Ray?
17 said he didn't need any adjustments on his Parts Plus Toyota. Kyle Busch has said, I want to get 4 tires here for sure, and I need a little bit of an air pressure adjustment. I'm getting a little bit tight coming off of the corner. So those 2 trucks will be down and away. And guys, we just need to get clarification. Apparently the 3 and the 4 were both on pit road before the caution came out. Is that correct?
They were on pit road. At least they had made the commitment.
But they got lapped on pit road. They went. Now Ty Dillon could have went on down pit road and stayed on the lead lap, but he was on pit road in his pit box when our leader came by, so he will be a lap down.
And again, the reason for the caution, the 18, Joey Coulter cuts the right front tire down and into the wall. Education Lottery 200 as we take an AT&T race break. Early on, the 77 of Herman Quiroga gets into it with the 75 Caleb Holman, and the 77 into the wall. Then after he came out onto the racetrack to get back up to speed, cuts the right front tire and into the wall. Then the 51 of Kyle Busch takes the lead away from Brendan Gaughan.
Brendan stayed out on the caution flag to lead, and now Joey Coulter gets into the outside wall to bring out our most recent caution.
Yeah, this caution will shuffle the lineup. Kyle will remain the leader, but some of our guys had already pitted and will take the wave around, including Ty Dillon, who was running second, Brendan Gaughan, who we saw leading the race earlier, and Jeb Burton, to name a few.
Some really good trucks.
Yeah,
Matt Crafton as well.
As John West Townley is also. But this really mixes things up, Bill. It's a big break, I think, for Johnny Sauter. It's also a nice break for Darrell Wallace Jr. He saw how fast he was. He didn't lose any track position, so he can continue to try to move through the top 5. He's got a fast truck. Didn't have to give the wave around or do the wave around. Now he's still in contention.
Only 3 cautions, 59 laps to go. When they come back to the stripe, it'll be 58 to go. Timothy Peters and the 51 of Kyle Busch making up row number 1. Kyle Busch, your race leader, is going to choose the outside line on this restart.
Yeah, he had a struggle down there on the bottom. Remember when Brendan was up on the outside of him? So this is experience tells him he better be up top.
Coming into the quad oval once again. Green flag back in the air.
Solid start on the inside by Timothy Peters. Going to remain side by side with Kyle as they race into turn 1.
See James Busher trying to push Kyle Busch on the outside.
Busher all over that back bumper. Here comes Ryan Blaney in the 29 on the inside.
Who's going to make it 3 wide here now when they get down to turn number 3? Ross Chastain real high.
Look at that action. Switching lanes, side by side.
Through 3 and 4, Kyle Busch the advantage now on the high side. Timothy Peters moves up. James Busher trying to hold on to 3rd now.
How about Brad Keselowski now up to the 4th spot? They've continued to work on that truck, made it better and better. Ooh, Ross Chastain, we saw him go high. He must feel like he has a tire going down.
Mellon won to pit road.
And a problem with the 29 as well. He's backing up.
Another one of the BKR trucks.
Meanwhile, Brad, who owns those 2 trucks, having problems, have raced his way into the top 5. Hermie, what are they saying?
Yeah, Ross radioed in shortly after that restart that he felt like he had a right side tire going down. He thinks a right front, so he put 2 right side tires on. He has a 29, his teammate, and the 88 of Crafton both come into pit road. Ray?
Crafton just came on the radio and said he's got a right side tire going down, so that's 2 or 3 trucks in a row. I'm back in the garage area checking on the number 18. They had flats on both right side tires.
You just wonder if there was maybe still some debris left on the racetrack. That's 3 trucks in the space of a lap coming to pit road unexpectedly.
Looking at the wheel well of that 29 as he was on pit road. Now the 88 goes to the right side to change right side tires, and they're going to go to the left side as well.
Look at Brad Keselowski gets a run left side of your screen on the 31 of James Busher in a battle for 3rd.
We talked about the stars coming out tonight and the stars shining bright. Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. Well, Kyle's first and Brad's passing for 3rd. So we thought you'd have to beat these 2 to win, and that looks like it might be the case.
And Timothy Peters sandwiched in between the 2. We're riding along with Johnny Sauter.
Running 5th. How about Johnny Sauter after all the trial and tribulations now? Raised his truck up on the caution flag, up in the top 5.
Well, he was racing through the field when he gotten back after that work that he did on his truck. So he has a great truck, and that's evident now by solidly inside the top 5 and trying to track down James Busher just ahead.
So issues on the racetrack for 2 of the Brad Keselowski racing trucks. Take a look now at the 19. As the 19 trying to stay up high, but the big wiggle there.
They stayed high on the racetrack. They're continuing to wiggle as they exit turn number 2. And this is down in 3 and 4. He obviously feels like he has a flat tire, and I'm sure he did. Does a nice job keeping that truck out of the wall. There's the 88 slowing at the same time, Matt Crafton.
And almost simultaneously, the 29, take a look at how he slows down that lower line.
Oh, and he slides up the hill. Flat tire there as well, I guess.
Trucks going by on both sides at a high rate of speed.
Oh, we got a spinner off turn 4. Tyler Young.
Tyler Young. And issues for the 50 as well as Danny Applin slides back up the racetrack. Caution out once again.
Okay.
Yeah, good job, Danny. Got off the brake, got the thing spun back around, didn't hit the outside wall, and they'll continue.
So the 4th caution of the night comes out. Truck spinning off of turn 4. Danny Eflin straightens it back out. He's able to get back up to speed.
Guys, this just about where right now lap 82 leaves us with 52 laps to go. That's right about our pit window here.
I think we can make that.
I think we come in.
And we've also seen Brendan Gaughan stay out on his tires for more than a complete green flag run and still be very competitive. So get some tires right now, get that all done, and go race it to the checkered.
You see 07 Chris Cockrum having issues with that truck, and the 18 in the garage. Ray, what's happening?
Well, Rick, this is the truck that Joey finished second with at Kansas City, but they've got a good bit of damage to the front end. They're going to have to change the right front upper control arm. They're also putting in a new brake caliper and rotor, and they have got some grinding to do up there. As you can see, they're going to put some pieces on the nose, but they will get Joey back into this race to try to garner some points. The rear end of this truck looks pretty good, and as soon as they get that suspension fixed up front here, they'll be back to the racetrack.
And remember, they're busting their tails back here because Kyle Busch talked about it earlier. He wants to run for a driver's championship. He thinks Joey Coulter might be one of his best bullets.
Wow. So the 0-2 on the inside of another truck. That's the first example we've seen where somebody has been turned around because of the air getting robbed off the rear spoiler.
That truck slid all the way down the front straightaway. And check out the job there. Eflin lets off the brake just as that thing was going to hit that outside wall, and it was able to drive it away from here. They all come, Phil, like you said.
Field making their way onto pit road.
Not going to get any tires. I think maybe just gas. What do you think, Hermie?
Yeah, the 31 of Buescher coming in. They are in their fuel window right on the edge. It'll be fuel only for Buescher.
Same for Johnny Sauter. He drives off with just some gas. Oh, there's Timothy Peters.
A lot of contact.
Man, can't drive out of the side of someone. Spotters, crew chief, somebody needs to help you. You can't see really great out of these trucks, Phil. So you got to have a lot of help right there. And that truck, bad move there.
You got to rely on your crew chief to tell you when it's clear to go, and you have to know who's pitting around you, who's going to be turning in.
Sure, we're going to see the 17 of Timothy Peters back on pit road. Take another look at what happened after getting his service done.
Watch this hard contact.
See, further down. Nowhere for Jake Crum to go. He had to get by the 60 truck of Dakota Armstrong and turn in his pit the next pit up.
Yeah, that was just a mistake by that 17 team, turning their guy loose right there.
Yeah, Timothy had no idea he was out there. He just drove straight into the side of the 0-1 of Jake Crum.
Points contenders with issues tonight: Matt Crafton, Johnny Sauter, already with issues on the track, as well as Ryan Blaney.
Watch the gas can here on Kyle Busch's truck.
Oh, is he going to leave with that equipment? That's a penalty if so. And
Yes,
it looks
he
like,
does.
yes, the can goes out of the pit. He'll have to do a restart in the rear of the field.
What was on the line of the gas can itself? I don't know.
Well, it was definitely across the line.
What?
There's no
Get
question.
some replays here. I don't know. What?
It left the box.
Yeah.
The gas
Anytime
can was
equipment leaves
still
the box.
engaged when you left. They drug it out the box. Gas can left the box.
So Kyle Busch will have to serve that penalty.
You come in for a gas?
Ray Dunlap.
Yeah, and guys, just checking on that, they had decided that they wanted to try to keep a set of tires in the pit, so they were doing fuel, and that's what they thought was going to be the best option. But it was pretty clear on that replay that the gas can did get out of the box, so they will issue a penalty to Kyle Busch.
Take a look at the right front of the 17 of Timothy Peters. They're working on that now after the contact with the 0-1 of Jake Crum. We'll be back for the restart. Welcome back. Green flag back in the air. North Carolina Education Lottery, just 47 laps remain.
Oh, and they're going to be a good 47, too. This lineup's all mixed up. Kyle, all the way down on the apron.
Brad Keselowski's in a hurry. Who makes a little contact with the 92 of Scott Riggs.
He was off the track making passes. I told you things were going to heat up. Kyle Busch, dominant for this race, is in the back of the pack. He pitted and got tires, but he lost all of his track position. Look at all those trucks he's got to go through.
How about Miguel Paludo out in front of the field, and Max Gresham running second.
3 wide off turn 4, Rick.
And they
Truck's
bump
bouncing
and bang.
around here. Bubba Wallace in the middle in the 54 truck.
He's already had a wild ride. He lets the two on his inside and outside go by.
I like that decision. That was a rough ride down the front straightaway. I don't see it getting much better 3 wide and down into turn 1. So good decision. Bubba's driven a smart race, giving a lot of people some breaks. made some good saves. Look at Brad Keselowski around for second.
How about the 3 of Ty Dillon making the run on the high side as well? As you mentioned, Brad Keselowski up to second now. He sets his sights on the 32 of Miguel Paludo.
You know, the 51 trouble, Kyle Busch having that pit road penalty, may be just exactly what Brad Keselowski needs here. We talk about those two guys being the guys. Ooh, Ty Dillon ran out of room a little bit on the outside. How about Jeff Burton?
Jeff Burton with a huge run as he takes third away from the 8 of Max Gresham and the 3 of Ty Dillon.
Whoa, sparks flying from Brendan Gaughan down into turn 3. He loses some ground back there.
Ty looks like he's got a truck that's on the move now as he takes third away. Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, Jeff Burton stayed out, but on that last round of pit stops, Ty Dillon was in. They decided to go with right side tires on his Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. So he got rights, but as Michael said, when Kyle Busch had to come down to serve his penalty, he got 4. It's going to be fun to see if the 51 can get back through the pack.
As Ray mentioned, Jeff Burton as well as Miguel Paludo did not stop on that caution flag. They're going to have to run over 60 laps. Ooh, Timothy Peterson with serious problems.
And very close call there for the 07. John Wentworth, the 7. 07. Crum got right up on the back bumper of that 17 as he is slow on the racetrack.
Look at Johnny Sauter after that early work in the pits. He's moving through the field down on the inside of Max Gresham, racing for the 5th spot. He's not able to get away from Gresham, but he's fast.
Riding along with Johnny Sauter. Out in front still, Miguel Paludo holding on to that top spot.
Kyle Busch has raced his way up to the 11th spot, cutting his way through the field. So we're going to hear more out of that young man before this baby's over. He's going to charge up to the front. Look at Johnny Sauter squeezing Gresham.
Max Gresham got a little bit loose on the high side. Again, not as fresh of tires. Sauter still having to work, though, as he stays on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get by that 8.
Yeah, Johnny's going to try to hook that white line. He does get enough of an advantage to pull up in front of Gresham to have that 5th spot. Here comes Kyle Busch on the outside of Dakota Armstrong. Watch him drive to the outside of the 31 of Buescher.
And a battle for the lead. Here comes Brad Keselowski in the 2.
We talked about Miguel Paludo having a great run at Kansas. He's back on it again, leading this race in Charlotte.
And here comes Ty Dillon in the 3, right behind that 2.
And there's Jeff Burton. What a battle for the lead we have.
These 4 have separated themselves. Sparks coming out of the 9. Up the racetrack he goes. Contact is made. Jake Crum into the back of the 9. Caution comes out again.
It looked like Hornaday may have had a tire going down. Could not keep his truck down. Jake Crum came along. Looked like Ryan Blaney barely got by on the outside. And then look at all the damage to Jake's truck.
Jake drove down into turn 3 running 180 miles an hour. You can't just change directions instantly. We saw Ryan Blaney barely slip through the outside, but there just wasn't anywhere for Jake to go. There's the evidence of Ron bending the outside wall. See the concrete in his front tire. That's why he couldn't turn when he got down to turn 3.
Right front tire down on the 9.
That looked a whole lot like we saw
down
in the Sprint Cup Series at Bristol when a tire was blown and Matt Kenseth drove right over top the guy that Jeff Gordon blew a tire. Kenseth over top of him. You can't go anywhere when it's that tight and that fast.
A lot of contact with the 29 of Ryan Blaney. We saw the left rear tire down on that one. Let's take another look at the replay of what's taking place.
He's already hit the wall, Rick, and blown his right front tire, and it just won't turn when he gets to turn 3. Look at Blaney. Wow, barely through there. Todd Bodine.
I think Hornaday made contact with Blaney. That's what cut down the left rear tire on Blaney's truck, and that's why we saw all the damage to his truck. So you see the contact right there, and hard contact with Jake Crum.
Holy cow, that happens in a hurry. Watch this contact. Great camera work, guys. Look at the job Blaney does just to barely slip around the outside. Crum trying to get under him, jacks that truck up off the track.
Wow, that's significant contact.
Yeah, and it's a shock to Ryan Blaney and to Jake Crum when they got to that turn and Ron didn't hold his line on the bottom. They didn't know what kind of trouble Ron had. Obviously, Ron went in that corner too fast to make it and caused a big crash.
Good to see Jake Crum climbing out of that truck. Big hit for Jake Crum into the back of the 9 of Ron Hornaday. Damage to the 29, Hermie.
Well, Rick, one of the reasons Ryan Blaney was involved in that crash was because he was in the back of the pack. Why? We saw him make a couple unscheduled pit stops. Well, the last time they pitted under green, they went back on the racetrack. Then we saw a couple of trucks come back to pit road with right side tire issues. The 29 had a loose lug nut on the right front. They came back in to tighten the lugs, realized that the air gun on the right front was malfunctioning. They could not get the lugs tight on the 29. That cost them a lot of valuable track position, ended up causing him to be involved in this accident. Now the 32 of Miguel Paludo running up front, the same truck he ran at Kansas. Obviously he crashed with his teammate James Busher, a new body on this 32 truck. There's the Miguel Paludo fan club. His wife and little son, Ollie, right there. They are cheering every lap Miguel comes by leading this race. They want Miguel to get his first career victory here at Charlotte, and his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, says they are good to go on fuel.
These caution laps are going to buy them a little bit of time. Miguel Paludo last pitted on lap 73. Jeb Burton right now running fourth, pitted on lap 71.
So Miguel Paludo inching closer to that first win in the Camping World Truck Series. And on a 1.5 mile racetrack, he's looking awful good tonight. Tomorrow, after an all-star fight to the finish, get the best post-race coverage anywhere. Enjoy the celebration with the winner. NASCAR Victory Lane, live from Charlotte tomorrow night, right after the Sprint All-Star Race, only on Speed. Under the lights for the Camping World Truck Series, we have 36 laps remaining in the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Take a look at our ace, most helpful pit crew. Has to be the 98. Had the hood up on that truck early, made some major adjustments. Now we see that 98 into the top 5, running 5th right now.
Yeah, he's just been cutting through the field ever since they worked on that truck.
I don't think he's done yet either.
No, and he's got plenty of fuel. I think he's good to go to the end. This team needed a rebound too, Phil. That penalty that they suffered after Kansas could be devastating to this team. 25 points racing for a championship and losing your crew chief for 4 races. If they prove tonight that they can work with Joe Shear not being here, but I know Joe Shear is a big part of tonight's equation. He's helping the team through this, but if they prove tonight that they can work through this, could still be a championship contender.
He's running top 5. Is that a success for this team without their crew chief?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, it's a success.
And I'm sure that Johnny Sauter would say that, but at the same time, he'd be absolutely the maddest guy in the world if he doesn't win this race.
Well, they said he was uncharacteristically calm.
Quiet, that's right, earlier. Our most recent caution comes out because of Hornaday cutting the right front tire. The 0-1 getting into the back. North Carolina Education Lottery 200 continuing. You know, $600 million is what they're saying is up for grabs tomorrow night.
Well, I'm going to have a shot.
I might buy a ticket for that one. All-Star Weekend continues Sunday. The ARCA Racing Series in Toledo. 2 o'clock the start time for that one.
Our buddy Kenny Schrader's going to join us in that race. He's not going to be in the booth with us. He's going to be in that race here. Going to try to give Frank Kimmel all he can stand at Toledo.
Another guy who's joined us in the booth, Justin Allgaier, former champion of the ARCA Racing Series. He's going to be on the pit box for one of the teams.
And I'm going to be on my couch watching y'all.
We appreciate that. Ray Dunlap.
Hey guys, Timothy Peters has come back to the garage area. They've got work to do on his truck. Already this season, they've posted a 26th and a 27th place finish. It's a bad night tonight in Charlotte, and it may be a bad week next week. Right here in front of me, you see this rear end. This piece has been confiscated from NASCAR. They have tagged this, and they have shown that this thing did not conform to the the maximum amount of camber that's allowable. It has too much camber in this. So Butch Hilton and the 17 team very likely to get a penalty next week, and it's bad enough because they're already in the garage with their 3rd bad finish of the season.
Guys making their way onto pit road. Darrell Wallace Jr.
Wow.
Down there.
You see sticker tires going in. We saw how fast Kyle Busch was with those stickers after he put them on after his penalty. Another one of the KBM trucks is going to do it as well. We know Bubba Wallace has had a fast truck here. He's capable of finishing in the top 5. He's going to have 4 fresh tires here for about 30 laps.
We think everyone should be okay on fuel, those that aren't coming onto pit road now.
Yeah, the only 2 questions we have really are Miguel Paludo, who pitted on lap 73, and Jeb Burton, who pitted on lap 71. I think now that we have enough caution laps that those guys feel fairly comfortable as far as the crew chiefs that they have enough fuel to get to the end.
We've heard the equation The caution flag laps, you can go 2 laps on the same amount of fuel it takes to go 1 lap under green flag conditions.
That's very close. There's Ron Hornaday making initial contact with the wall at the exit of turn number 4. And then he has that tire going down, trying to get back to pit road. Can't keep it down, right in the way.
The 0-1 of Jake Crum gets into the back of him. Jake Crum has been checked and released from the infield care center.
I believe Ross Chastain might have gotten our free pass back on the lead lap. He was racing Todd Bodine for the lucky dog, and I think he held off Bodine, or excuse me, Crafton, and got the free pass, and he's back on the lead lap. So big break for this team.
That'll put 17 on the lead lap for the restart. As we see now, Ross Chastain making his way onto pit road.
Ross is in, as well as Ryan Blaney, who's had some damage. Ryan's about 3 laps down right now. Todd Bodine is also in. They're continuing to try to pull the fenders off of the right front tire on the 29 truck. And there's Todd Bodine, the 13 truck right now, still 1 lap down.
I don't think we can talk enough about the owner of this team. Brad Keselowski still has never won in the Camping World Truck Series, but this might be his best opportunity tonight.
I agree with you 100%, Rick, and he's faster than Miguel Pluto, but both those guys better be looking in their mirrors for Kyle Busch. He is coming. He's driven up to the 7th spot. He's extremely fast. He's probably going to get a couple or 3 trucks on this restart alone, and it won't be long before he'll be battling for this win.
You know, 3 of the top 4 on this restart have not won in the Camping World Truck Series. Miguel Paludo, Brad Keselowski, and Jeb Burton. You've got Ty Dillon up there in 3rd right now, who won a year ago at Atlanta.
And did an amazing job beating Kyle Busch for that first win a year ago at Atlanta. And that's who they're going to have to beat here. Guarantee you he's going to be on the gas.
Looking back through the rows, back there in 4th.
And look at Bubba Wallace there in 10th.
Yeah, after making a 4-tire pit stop right there.
With fresh tires. That could be a fun truck to watch, too, because he's been extremely fast all night.
Randy Kaiser brings the pace car off of the racetrack. Field back in the hands of Brad Keselowski. Miguel Paludo making up row number 1. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway. 31 laps to go.
Great restart by Brad Keselowski on the bottom.
We've seen every restart, Phil, when they come off turn 2, they're 3 wide. So if Brad can't hold the bottom, you see Ty Dillon right there all over him. Here comes Johnny Sauter looking the inside of Dillon.
Ty slid up the racetrack a little bit, opened up the bottom. Is that Kyle Busch on the inside?
You see the 31 of James Buescher making his way to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get that 4th spot away.
Saw Ty Dillon slide up the racetrack again and open up the bottom. Johnny Sauter now, the 98, is side by side with Ty.
How about Dakota Armstrong in the 60 right up here in the mix?
No caution for the track.
Good job. Back her down, hands up.
Caution's out. Miguel Paludo holding on to the lead.
2 truck of 02 of Tyler Young.
Yep, Tyler Young having issues with the right side of that truck.
That's the second incident that Tyler's been involved.
Heard him say couldn't get it turned back down.
You know, this truck racing is so entertaining. You got Pluto, Burton, guys out front that didn't get tires. You got Kyle, who has tires, Bubba Wallace, who has tires, and they race 2 and 3 wide every lap. You see, we're already 2 laps into the restart. Young hard in the outside wall. It looked like they were still
like the restart.
It looked like they're still under caution, except they're running 180.
Got a lot of damage to the right side of that truck once again. Hermie.
Well, Jeff Hensley's trying to get Miguel Paludo his first victory. You were close in Kansas, up front now, but looks like every one of these restarts, you get a few more gray hairs up here.
Yeah, as long as they don't fall out. I don't care if they turn gray, just don't turn loose. But nah, we're pretty good. We're not good enough to win, I don't think. I think they're a little bit better. But with us out front and clean air, our truck is a whole lot better. And we'll just see what happens. So.
You guys are talking a lot prior to the last restart about which lane to choose and why. On the outside, you had a teammate behind you. What are you telling Miguel and trying to guide him in these final stages?
Well, I mean, I think the outside, obviously, the key to this place is keep the momentum up, run the high side as much as you can, and then clear the inside row and get to the bottom, because if you get hung on the bottom, you get freight trained. So he's doing really, really good on his restarts this year. This is a lot of fun working with him, to watch him develop and get better. It's just a lot of fun. So hopefully we can put this Turner Scott Motorsports in Silverado in victory lane, and we'll just see what happens. So it's been a good night. The last 2 weeks have been really good.
Yeah, these guys are very excited, hoping that Miguel can hold them off and go to victory lane.
I know I don't want to play poker with Jeff Hensley. He just said, oh, I don't think he can beat those guys.
Watch
but
this,
he knows he can.
Watch this stuff, Rick. This is the most fun for us and the fans at home to watch, and it's the most difficult thing ever for these drivers to do. They're battling side by side, rubbing fenders at 180 miles an hour, just trying their best to gain any inch on the track that they can. You can see Sauter sideways off the road. Kyle Busch hemmed in behind him, and watch that outside line go.
Look at the 60 of Dakota Armstrong. Bubba Wallace at 54 behind Dakota, making some. Look at how fast they are on the outside.
Fresh tires for Darrell Wallace Jr., Bubba Wallace in that 54.
Yeah, but Dakota Armstrong, he is extremely fast running inside the top 5. Kyle Busch, we thought could make a big move on that restart. He just got hemmed in, couldn't do anything, got stuck, lost his spot.
6 caution out on the racetrack right now as they continue to work their way around at a cautious pace. Miguel Paludo leading at Charlotte. Money on the Hub, get a full all-star breakdown. The special Hub analyst and insider, Elliott Sadler. Plus, we go beyond the highlights with an exclusive recap of the weekend through the winner's eye. Don't miss NASCAR Race Hub Monday at 6 Eastern, only on Speed.
Okay, it's time to hold your breath again.
Only 26 laps to go when they come to the stripe. Once again, it's Paludo and Keselowski, your top 2, making up row number 1. Green flag back in the air.
Not only are they battling for the lead, they're battling for clean air.
3 wide going into turn 1.
Darrell Wallace tried to look to the bottom. That opened up the middle for Johnny Sauter, and he stuck it in there. They're going to make contact.
Bubba Wallace is not backing off, pulls right up on the tailgate of Jeff Burton.
Sideways is James Buescher as they come out of 2 and down the backstretch they go.
Johnny Sauter lost a lot of ground. James Buescher has the tire rub on the left front.
Yeah, he got sideways and maybe into the wall off turn 4. These guys aren't done wrecking yet. Golly, this is intense.
3 wide.
Burton on the inside trying to take second away from Keselowski.
See that smoke from James Buescher's truck. He's back there in about 10th, 12th spot.
That was a lot of smoke.
Jeff Burton gets sideways.
Has to catch it.
Meanwhile, Darrell Wallace Jr. just drives by him on the outside.
Look who Darrell's behind. He's behind his owner, Kyle Busch. 2 of the fastest trucks here tonight.
51 and 54, nose to tail. They're running 3rd and 4th. And now looking to take second away. Here comes Kyle Busch to the inside of Brad Keselowski.
Caught a glimpse of Jeff Burton getting completely sideways right behind this 4-truck battle.
Well, that's something you don't want to see in your mirror. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski right behind Miguel Paludo.
But what a run off turn 2 for Brad. Kyle couldn't get that pass done.
Miguel Paludo says, please keep running side by side, guys, behind me.
Paludo down to the bottom of the racetrack this time. Kyle Busch has second. He's taking that away from Brad Keselowski. Now here comes Darrell Wallace Jr. Bubba Wallace in the 54, making his way to the inside of the 2 of Brad Keselowski, trying to take 3rd away.
We know how badly Kyle Busch wants to break that huge losing streak of 7 races. What if his team driver, his young 19-year-old, comes up there and beats him?
Well, I just love this action. You know how bad Miguel Paludo, we talked in the opening, beating Kyle Busch, beating Brad Keselowski. That would mean the world to these young drivers. Bubba Wallace and Miguel Paludo are in the position to do just that. They've got them split right now with Paludo hanging on to lead, and Bubba is fast.
Miguel Paludo not backing down. He has now a 2-truck link lead over Kyle Busch.
Remember, Bubba Wallace has a little bit fresher tires than Kyle Busch does right now.
Look at Kyle, a little bit dancey, darty off turn 2, slid up the hill. Bubba's able to close in on the back straightaway. Brad Keselowski's not letting him get out of his sights.
We talk about how important clean air is. Right now, Miguel Paludo has that clean air. Look like Kyle Busch may be getting a little bit tight behind Miguel Paludo.
Look at Wallace through the center of 3 and 4, pulling right up on the back of Kyle Busch.
Last year we saw this at Atlanta. Ty Dillon was able on a longer run to be able to get by Kyle Busch, beat Kyle Busch for the victory. We also saw it the last race of the year.
Miami, when he battled side by side with Cale Gale, and Gale got the victory.
And now, the 3 of Ty Dillon able to get by that 4 of Jeb Burton.
Look at the run for second. Wallace is going to get to the inside of Busch.
Here comes Bubba Wallace in the 54, trying to take the spot away from Kyle Busch. Those 2 trucks are closing the gap on the 32 of Miguel Paludo now.
Michael, you talked to Kyle Busch, the owner. He's got one of his...
Both of these guys are clear by 5 out the back, everything out the windshield. Let's go get them.
They're talking, that's the 54 spotter. Said you're better in both those trucks in front of you. And oh, by the way, that's your owner right in front of you.
And I agree, Bubba's got the fastest truck, but man, passing on the inside is really difficult. Oh,
Johnny Sauter, second in the points. They've got problems with the 98.
Look how hard that truck's hit. It's narrowed up dramatically in the front.
Yep. Then until he hits you in the back. He never let off till he hits you.
Johnny was running in the 10th spot, and no, he's not going to be able to overcome the absence of his crew chief, Joe Shear.
Well, they made a valiant effort at it, working on that truck, tuning it up, getting it up into the top 5 before this big crash off turn 4. Sounds like the spotter thought that someone got into the back of Johnny and caused him to crash.
Back didn't look bad. Obviously, the right side looks really bad.
If you get any contact at all, it's going to send you spinning at these speeds.
Look at the right rear wheel pointed, towed out.
James Busher was behind. Yeah, James Busher was behind Johnny Sauter at this point in the race when Johnny crashed. Let's see if we can see if there was some problems with these two.
This was that restart.
Yeah, there's going to be
Johnny
some contact, exactly, because James Busher had a tire rub there. Johnny gets a little bit loose, chases it up the hill. So you see James Busher with the damage to that truck.
Well, you can see Johnny didn't. This wasn't Johnny's fault. He just got turned sideways on Dakota's truck, sent him into Busher. Busher didn't hit the wall, but they got together, and we heard the spotter report that, that Johnny got crashed, and I agree.
Yeah.
31 ran right in the back of that 98.
Looked like that might have been a little bit of a payback from the restart. And again, as you mentioned, Dakota Armstrong was involved in that, and there it is right there. There's a contact. Johnny had absolutely nothing he could do. Get turned sideways, middle of the corner.
Riding with Johnny.
Diving in. There. He's there. He pretty much dove in there and wrecked you.
And up the racetrack, Johnny Sauter win and into the wall hard.
That's a tough way to finish your night, especially the way they've fought through this evening and gotten themselves in a position for a strong run. A little bit of damage on the left front of Busher's truck. I think that came from the restart, Phil.
I think that's right after that restart.
We saw that tire smoking dramatically, and they didn't blow out a tire and finally had some contact with Johnny Sauter. Here comes the 4, Ray.
Jeb Burton has said he has a really bad vibration. The spotter looked at the truck and said, I believe that your track bar is broken. So they are going to come down. He set the pole today, and that Arrowhead Silverado had a very fast truck. It's been a pretty good day, but they will come to the pits and have to work on that thing. And Hermie, the 31 is also in on your end of pit road.
Yeah, they had lost a little bit of track position with that contact, so they're going to come in, had one more set of tires left in the pits. We've seen it, what tires have done with some of the other trucks on the racetrack, so he'll get 4 tires, pull the fenders away, and some Sunoco fuel. The 19 of Ross Chastain as well. Same situation, a set of stickers left in the pits. May as well come get them. Try to get as much as you can in the final 20 or so laps tonight.
Well, Phil, I love this. Trucks are hauling with new tires on them, making their way through the field. We watched Kyle Busch do it. We've seen Bubba Wallace Jr. do it.
Who will take advantage of fresh tires in this final pit stop? North Carolina Education Lottery 200 presented by Ram continues after this. Shake and Bake is the popular NASCAR blog from Fox Sports. Get the latest buzz and go beyond the nuts and bolts of the garage area for an entertaining and humorous look at your favorite drivers and the most outrageous stories in NASCAR. Check out foxsports.com/shake and bake. Skyline of Charlotte, North Carolina.
1 to go, Rick. This is good stuff. I love it.
15 laps remaining. It'll be 14 when they come back to the stripe for the North Carolina Education Lottery 200.
I'm not sure that the fireworks are done yet.
No, I'm sure they're not. It's a beautiful night, and the action is intense.
These restarts have been crazy.
Crazy, you're right, Phil. And that's the hardest thing you'll ever do, racing 3 wide at Charlotte, wide open in a pickup truck, with guys that would rather win than anything.
Than eat.
Yes.
Miguel Paludo once again will restart on the outside.
And what a deserving role Miguel Paludo's playing in all this, baby. He was up front at Kansas, got wiped out. He's been strong week in and week out, and now he's going to have a chance to beat Kyle Busch. And by the way, the guys running 3rd and 4th understand how treacherous it is to run side by side at Charlotte. Anything could happen. They got to be on their toes to make a move around these two. We've seen them 3 wide on every restart.
They're going to be 3 wide again. I just believe they are. Who's going to get stuck in the middle?
You've got teammates on the inside. It's Kyle Busch just in front of Bubba Wallace. We've seen Bubba Wallace extremely strong the latter part of this race. And on his outside, Brad Keselowski, extremely hungry as well, trying to get his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. 3 of the top 4 haven't been to victory lane. Kyle Busch on the inside. Most wins on mile-and-a-half racetracks of any Camping World Truck Series driver. Green flag back in the air.
Dead even so far.
Miguel Paludo trying to use the momentum on the high side. Kyle Busch hugging the white line as they come out of turn number 2.
They're the 3 wide.
We knew it was coming. Looks like Brad Keselowski's trying to give Paludo a bit of a push down that back straightaway to get him around Kyle Busch. Kyle clears him.
Kyle Busch up the racetrack. Now Miguel Paludo running second. The battle for third is on. Darrell Wallace Jr. on the inside. Brad Keselowski on the outside.
3 wide behind those guys.
Oh, we got a spinner. Justin Lofton loses it back in the back.
And around goes the 6 of Lofton.
What a great job by Brennan Newberry not running into him.
Just 3 wide, man.
And
Bring him around here.
James Busher.
We have to do it again.
Wow.
Just got the flat tires. We didn't hit the walls, guys.
Did you see James Busher and Brennan
Oh,
Newberry?
look at Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace turned on the inside of the track.
That was way out in front of the incident with Justin Lofton. I wonder if maybe people had slowed down because of the caution flag.
Looks as though he's got some damage to the front of that
No
truck.
chance of fixing it.
He was running third, Phil.
Battling for third with Brad Keselowski. Look at him just grab his head.
He can't believe what's just happened. A lot of damage to the front of this truck. Taking a look from Brad Keselowski's vantage point.
Just got pushing off turn at the same time as the wreck happened behind him. Look at the job that Max Gresham does to sneak by Wallace. You can see him just push the nose off the corner, Phil. Just up, 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 up. Contact with Brad, and around he goes.
And Brad made some pretty good contact with the outside wall.
Wow, look at that contact. Such a promising night up in smoke. And you remember the caution was out just then. Remember at Rockingham, caution was out. He wrecks his truck really late in the going. So this is just a huge, terrible break for Bubba. He just made a bit of a mistake off turn 2, racing for the win, racing hard at the end. Got his truck pushing and lost it. Look at the damage to Brad's truck. The back end's torn off of it.
He just can't believe it. He had such a great run. He just absolutely can't believe it. To work your whole life to get in position like this, to go for a win in a big NASCAR series, and unfortunately it's going to end early.
That'll hurt for a while for Bubba, but darn, with the talent he has and the job that he did tonight, he's a rookie, you know, Phil.
Yeah, just 5 races into his NASCAR career here in the Camping World Truck Series.
Keselowski to pit road, as is Ty Bodine, Brennan Newberry, bunch of trucks on the pit road.
I'm sure he doesn't care, but Brad Keselowski definitely speeding on pit road. Right.
Yeah, and they just had to get in here and work on that right side. Brad said there's no way he could restart with it the way it was, so they're going to put tires on the right side of that draw-tight Ford, and he'll get back in the race. But chance to win today has gone away. Brad Keselowski will be back for sure at Bristol and probably 2 other races this season for an opportunity at his first win.
This is just 3 wide racing at Charlotte. Late in the going, you know, we've seen people give and take, but there's no give and taking anymore. John West Talley was on the outside of Justin Lofton. Justin just got in a bind there, but look at the job those 3 trucks did. A little bit of contact by Newberry, but the job Busher did on the top, Gresham on the bottom. Holy cow, that's just driving.
And Max Gresham ends up running third right now after Bubba Wallace and Brad Keselowski's problem. How did James Busher miss?
I have no idea.
There's Bubba and Brad getting together while Justin Lofton is sideways in the middle of the racetrack. See, Justin tried to stay off the 7 of John West Townley.
Look how just lightly Ross Chastain, he made the decision just to ease off the gas and just slips by on the outside. Ross has been in the middle of some good stuff tonight. And look at that job that...
How about Jeff Burton going by on the inside?
James Busher, Brennan Newberry doing great jobs avoiding that 6 of Lofton.
And I'll guarantee you Brennan Newberry couldn't see that truck for the smoke. We were looking from up high. We could see it. There's no way he saw it. He just felt it. He just felt it, exactly.
He felt his way by it.
And the night ends early for Bubba Wallace. Trying to catch his truck, going up the racetrack, got into the back of the 2. But Brad Keselowski turned him around.
I tell you, Phil, though, for about 120 laps, though, that young man did an amazing job racing his way into contention, into a position to win a big NASCAR race. Rookie, very few starts. He's proven that he can get the job done. Racing door to door with his owner, trying to get that spot away from Kyle.
All he needs to do now is finish the deal. But he's got a mentor in Kyle Busch, who's the best.
Yeah, and I know.
Mile-and-a-half tracks.
You remember what Eric Jones did to Kyle Busch? He beat him down at the Snowball Derby. Eric now has a ride. I guarantee you Kyle was proud of what Bubba was doing in that truck tonight, racing Kyle for a win late in the going.
Had it not been Kyle Busch right in front of Bubba, he may have driven by the second place truck.
This race has had it all, okay? Can we agree on that, Phil?
Absolutely.
Glad you guys are agreeing once again.
We're on the same page now.
How about look at this top 5 now. Sure, we've got Kyle Busch, Miguel Paludo. We've 8 been up there. How about Max Gresham not running 3rd? Brendan Gaughan back up to 4th, and Ty Dillon right now running 5th.
And Matt Crafton just got a darn lucky dog, and he's all the way up to 6th. He was outside the top 20.
Inside of 10 laps remaining from Charlotte. You know, on May 31st, the world's toughest truckers are going to wage war on one of the most notorious tracks in NASCAR, the Monster Mile. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, May 31st, 4:30 p.m. Eastern live and only on Speed. Let's go back to trackside. Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. I'm hanging on the side of the box here for Kyle Busch's team. And Rudy Fugle, you got a chance for a big win tonight. It looked bad for a while, but he's back in position. What's the big picture?
Yeah, we got a really good Tundra. We've been good all night long. We had one little mishap there, but got the best driver on the planet right now, so I feel good.
All right. Feels good to be on top of the box when Kyle is behind the wheel. Rudy Fugle hoping for his first career win as a crew chief here in the Camping World Trucks.
Rudy Fugle making the calls that could help Kyle Busch drive to victory lane.
And in that long winless streak.
Yes.
7 races.
Been over a year.
Almost a year and a half.
Year and a half.
I could tell him a little bit of something about a losing streak.
Kyle Busch, Miguel Paludo making up row 1.
His is 7.
Mine was 462.
Dillon and Crafton in row 3.
That defines losing streak, baby.
Armstrong and Townley in 4. And 5, Ryan Sieg and Scott Riggs coming out of turn 4. 8 laps of racing to go from Charlotte. Have we seen the last caution? Green flag back in the air.
Look at Brendan Gaughan. He's giving Kyle Busch a push. He's going to get Kyle around Miguel Paludo. What can Brendan do?
Brendan Gaughan, also another driver who has been vacant from victory lane for a very long time, coming up on 10 years now.
Brendan leads the outside line. Kyle Busch now moves up to the outside.
Gaughan up to second now. Max Gresham in 3rd as he's able to get by Miguel Paludo.
I don't see how these guys are going to make it again, Phil. I think there's enough racing left. They're 3 wide on the front straightaway.
How about John West Townley running up in the top 10? Haven't talked about John West much. Our Daytona ARCA winner now running in the top 10.
And there's Crafton. He's got fresher tires. He got that free pass, got fresher tires, and he's into the top 5 now. He looked like he was out of the picture.
Miguel Paludo is stuck down on the bottom of the racetrack. There's Ty Dillon getting by Miguel Paludo. Here comes the 7 of John West Townley, moves to the outside. Ooh, no room.
And here comes the 31 of James Busher. He's got the damage to the left front of that truck. Out in front, Kyle Busch has a half a second lead over Brendan Gaughan. Max Gresham running in the 3rd spot. Matt Crafton closing the gap on Gresham. Ty Dillon running in the 5th spot. Paludo, Busher, Townley, Riggs, and Keselowski, your top 10.
What about Crafton? Is our point leader coming in? Got a lap down because of a flat tire. Was able to rally. Now he's in the top 5. It's a good night for him.
5 to go.
but I'm especially impressed with Max Gresham. He's up in the 3rd spot, holding off Matt Crafton.
You know, Hermie told us that Eddie Sharp Racing had both teams get to victory lane last year, was looking for something good to happen. Justin Lofton had a good run going, got taken out in our most recent caution, but Max Gresham up here looking for a career night.
His career best finish, 11th.
Last time by, Brendan Gaughan was a little bit faster than Kyle Busch. 4 to go, and he's a 1/10 and a half better this time by.
Brendan Gaughan running the high side around Charlotte, as is the 88 of Matt Crafton.
Look at Brendan closing in, guys.
He's coming now.
Kyle Busch trying to hang on. When they get back to the stripe, it'll be 3 to go.
Brendan
Can
got a little.
Brendan Gaughan keep the momentum up?
Looked like he got a little tight there, just trying so hard. The truck pushed up the hill. He lost a little bit of time there at 3 and 4.
Look, Kyle moved up to mirror his line a little bit.
Might have took some of his aerodynamics away, but Brendan didn't take any of his foot off the gas. He's still pushing hard to try to break his losing streak.
Down the backstretch they go. Less than 2.5 laps remain at Charlotte. There's the gap between 1 and 2. Kyle Busch, Brendan Gaughan. This time by 2 laps remaining.
Right now, Kyle Busch is saying, please no caution flag. Let us get back around here to the line under green.
To the bottom of the racetrack goes Kyle Busch. Brendan Gaughan stays up high. Max Gresham with a career run, running in the 3rd spot.
Max Gresham shows that the ladder series of NASCAR works. A great K&N career, moves up here to the Truck Series, and going to have a career night here.
This time by. White flag in the air. One more time to go for Kyle Busch.
1/10 of a second that lap Brendan gained on Kyle.
He's just right. He can taste it, Phil. He's so close he can taste it, but he just can't close the gap.
Yeah, he won't get these. Hit your mark 347 back.
Here's the spotter letting him know the distance between Kyle Busch and Brendan Gaughan. Working his way out of turn number 4. This is going to be his 5th win at Charlotte. Kyle Busch wins again.
That feels good, buddy. That feels really good. Thank you, guys. Good work on the truck, man. I appreciate all you guys digging in, man. It's been a hellacious start, but good job.
Brendan Gaughan comes home 2nd. Max Gresham, a career night in 3rd. Matt Crafton, your point leader, coming in, is 4th, and Ty Dillon rounding out the top 5.
This win didn't come without hiccups for Kyle Busch. Remember, he lost 2 engines here over the last couple days, and he ends up putting that Toyota in victory lane.
They got the right one in it at the right time.
Yes, they did.
Kyle Busch sits 2nd all time in wins in the Camping World Truck Series with 31. The only driver with more wins, 4-time champion Ron Hornaday with 51.
Though every one of those truckers that finished tonight should be proud of the job they did. Man, that was intense racing.
Times Kyle Busch has done that in a truck. He's getting very good at it. Engine strong enough to do a very impressive burnout.
Well, he broke his losing streak.
Well, thank you for admitting it was a slump. And he had so much stacked up against him to win tonight with the engine problems, not a lot of practice. But he's a special talent. So cool to talk with him before this event and get a perspective on how he feels about ownership and how driving is still his main passion. And boy, he was serious about it tonight. Watch Ross Chastain. You want to talk about how crazy these guys are, how hard they're racing? He's just trying his best to get around Townley for 8th. He wants 8th, Phil.
He's up in the top of the racetrack and completely sideways, dirt tracking it.
Couldn't quite get to Townley.
But he didn't lose any spots.
He went as hard as he could.
That's passion.
Still ends up with a top 10 finish. There he is. There, completely sideways, hard into the wall, but had enough cushion on Justin Lofton to grab that 9th spot.
And a very close 2nd, Brendan Gaughan is standing by with Hermie.
You told me after qualifying, when you qualified 23rd, you said it doesn't matter where we start. We got a fast truck. 1 minute you're smiling, next minute you're frustrated. How you feeling overall?
I'm mad as hell right now. That's why Kyle Busch is smart. He took my air off me like 3 laps to go, and it just set me far enough back. Our Chevrolet was faster tonight. We had probably the fastest truck on the track. South Point Chevy was great. Ty Dillon, top 5. Richard Childress Racing is, we're going to win these, man. It's so fun to have Shane Wilson. It's so fun to have everybody that's here supporting me and taking care of me. I'm ecstatic. I haven't been this happy in years.
Brendan Gaughan second. This team is on a roll.
Yeah, 3 top 5s in a row for Brendan Gaughan.
Pretty strong run for Brendan Gaughan, but it was an extremely strong Rowdy who wins and grabs that checkered flag. Heaven and Earth, Guts, Glory, Ram, and by the North Carolina Education Lottery. Brought to you in part by Camping World, America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. And by Aleve, 2 pills, all day strong, all day long. Guy who had a great finish, a career best finish, Max Gresham, standing by with Hermie.
Well, you're right, Rick, and I know, Max, how hard you've been working at this to get up front. Career best, 3rd place finish tonight at Charlotte. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. You know, I can't thank Team ESR enough. They've done nothing but make our stuff better and better. And, you know, this is a testament tonight. We got to put Amwins up front. You know, they're a Charlotte-based company, and we couldn't be any happier with how tonight went.
It's Max Gresham. He comes on 3rd. Now let's go to Victory Lane in Ray Dunlap.
Here comes Rowdy. Little Monster Energy flying in here into Victory Lane. And how about his 112th win in NASCAR's top 3 divisions? Those numbers are good, but sometimes it's better to be good or lucky, whatever. If you would have pitted on 84 and only gone fuel only and it gone right, could you have still won this race?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, our truck was really, really fast. Rudy and these guys did a great job, and they've worked awful hard. I mean, I got to say thanks to JGR Engines and Mark Cronquist and those guys, but they gave these guys a heart attack. They've been working too hard the last couple weeks, but Toyota Care, I mean, can't say enough about them. We appreciate their support and, you know, complimentary service of any new Toyota vehicle you buy. Flexco, Monster Energy, TRD, of course. You know, we couldn't do it without all those guys. And the fans, we appreciate them coming on out, supporting us here tonight, everybody on TV, and Camping World for the series, man. It's fun to race here, and we don't ever make anything too easy, do we?
It was fun watching the setup show tonight. You and Michael talked about being an owner. Your 2 trucks that are full-time didn't fare very well tonight, but you got the win. Do you do this just because you love winning, or are you doing it to try to help build the program?
Well, you're trying to help. I mean, the first couple of years I was helping build the program because we didn't have one, you know, and now it's to come out here and to have a 3rd truck on the racetrack and to have those guys be able to lean on somebody. You know, they come to me, they ask me questions, and, you know, what we do, what Rudy and I do on this truck, you know, they're open notebook. You know, they can have anything they want off this thing. And I wish the 18 had a better night. And of course, the 54 was fast there. It's unfortunate he got taken the air off or whatever happened there. I haven't seen it, but just seen him spin out off turn 2. But hate it for Daryl and those guys and the Liberty Tire truck there.
Congratulations. Kyle's back in Victory Lane and the first career win for his new crew chief, Rudy Fugle.
And Samantha comes in to congratulate Kyle on his most recent win as we look at our Ram Guts and Glory. The issue on pit road. They had to overcome equipment leaving the pit box, and he did just that.
Here he is taking the lead from Miguel Paludo, a lead he would never relinquish. And, you know, Ray asked him if he thought he would have won the race anyway, and he said he thought so, but I don't think those new tires hurt the situation there once he had that penalty.
No, we saw a lot of fun trucks running with those new tires, and Kyle certainly took advantage of those. One guy that struggled at the end, looked like he had a shot to win this baby, was Miguel Paludo. Hermie, how's he doing?
Miguel Paludo, you end up 7th, but that doesn't tell the whole story about your night. Got the lead, ran up front. Tell us about those restarts, first of all. Time and time again, able to hold off, and some pretty tough competitors to stay up front.
Oh, for sure. I learned a lot. I had Brad, I had Kyle, and that just made me better. You know, our guys did a great job. I want to thank Levine Children's Hospital for being on board, all the fans here, and all, you know, I don't know, we missed it by a little bit on the last restart. Once I lost the lead, we got an error tight. I had the older tires than the guys were in front of me, got in front of me later. But all in all, it was a good day. Proud of everybody, and just looking forward to it. You know, clean air is good, man. I'm liking that to be up front. So hope to do that in Dover and try to get our first win.
Well, this team is turning the corner. They should be in victory lane very, very soon.
Thanks, Hermie. And this is what it looks like when you get to victory lane. Kyle Busch is awfully good at celebrating. Another win for Kyle Busch in the Camping World Truck Series. Welcome back. Take a look at the Ram unofficial point standings. Matt Crafton in front of Jeff Burton now. Johnny Sauter slides all the way down to 6th with his problems.
How about Brennan Gaughan jumping up 3 spots to 4th now? Brennan, a contender for this championship, only 31 points out.
And if it weren't for the last 4 or 5 laps of these races, Darrell Wallace Jr. might be inside the top 5 as well. Another tough ending to a really solid night for that young man.
So there's your top 10 in Camping World Truck Series point standings through 5 races. But again, a lot of racing still to go. Let's hear from Ty Dillon. He's with Hermie.
Well, Ty Dillon, you come up with a top 5 to cap off a pretty good night for Richard Childress Racing. Both your trucks up front. Good run for you guys.
It was a very good night. Our Bass Pro Shop Chevy was really fast and is really good up top, and we just kept starting on the bottom, and that really hurt us. I felt like we had a top 2 truck. Kyle was really good, but maybe we could have ran with him there at the end. Hey, we could have, if we could have got to the top, like I said, but you know, I just got to give it up to my guys. They've really worked hard. I feel like we turned the corner on our program, and it was a great night for us. It's hard to be upset with 5th, but we want to win some races. I got to thank Bass Pro Shops, National Wild Turkey Federation, Chevrolet, Tag Heuer Eyewear, UNOH, everybody who helps out. It's been a great effort. Man, my teammate, old Trusty on the top, got up to 2nd, and you know, all day I didn't think we were going to be in the top, and man, experience really does pay off.
Well, that's Ty Dillon. He qualified 2nd, finishes 5th.
A guy running for a championship, pretty strong finish there.
Certainly. You got to like his chances, too. That team proved they can win with a Dillon behind the wheel. They got another one now, slip him in the seat, and won a race last year and contended for a championship all the way to late in the race in the final one in Miami. So that team is poised again with a teammate racing for a championship.
And a couple of our point contenders, we really feel like championship contenders, Timothy Peters and Johnny Sauter, both with problems. Timothy finishes 26th and Johnny 28th.
And again, Matt Crafton coming in was your point leader, had a very strong finish, 4th here tonight, so he holds on to that point lead. As the confetti falls and you see North Carolina Education Lottery, the Powerball has risen to, they're expecting a $600 million payout.
That's incredible.
That is a very big number.
I don't know if I can handle that or not.
Well, Kyle Busch had all he could handle tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A lot of contenders to battle through to get up to the front and hold off at the end. Brendan Gaughan, the closest competitor, coming down to the final laps. But in the end, it was a very strong Rowdy. Kyle Busch able to grab his 31st win in the Camping World Truck Series. Now let's head to Adam Alexander.